Hi everyone. My name is Emily. Let's see, where is it? My script is all jumped. There we go. All right. I don't remember the day my dad was diagnosed with MS. I was too young. I do remember at age 3 or 4, standing at the finish line, waving pom-poms and yelling, "Congratulations!" or "Way to go!" as the bikers rode by at the MS 6030. I remember learning how to set up an IV when I was 5 for my dad. I remember stepping on MS Ugly Buglies with my sister and her school friends at the MS 150 poetry contest when I was 7. We won that contest. I remember unloading the refrigerator lunch truck in Moose Lake, Minnesota. My friend and I passing the entire contents of the truck to waiting volunteers on the ground at age 8. I remember learning how to look at Dad's MRI images and knowing what lesions looked like when I was 9. I remember countless pieces of pizza, plenty of paper plates, and perfect cookies. I couldn't come up with a word for cookies that started with P. I remember serving lunches to on the bike tours at age 11. I remember delivering lunches to dedicated ham radio operators with my mom at the bike MS tram ride at age 12. I remember the tingling in my fingertips at age 14, which led to an entirely tingly body, difficulty walking, and vision trouble. I remember the spinal tap that was so painful, time in the hospital, nurses who weren't used to giving a child such high doses of steroids, and playing piano for my neurologist, Dr. K, in the teen room of the hospital. I remember my mom driving me to school lunchroom when I was in 8th grade. I was too weak and exhausted to go to school, but she, the doctors, and my teachers all felt it was very important for me to be with my friends. How cool is that? I remember sleeping for hours after those 30-minute lunch dates. It took so much energy to be there. I remember hours with Megan, Holly, Sarah, and Katie, my physical and occupational therapists, who remain my greatest cheerleaders. I love them and I will always remember them. They gave me the tools to keep moving and to keep looking forward in my life. I remember severe chest pain on my 15th birthday. Happy birthday to me. I remember November 18th, 2011, when I went in for an MRI and brought a copy of the disc home to see for myself. I remember seeing the new lesion and knowing I have MS. I remember Matt, our MS nurse who's here today, showing me how to give my first daily injection that would hopefully prevent further lesions. I sat stoically in front of him as he carefully and methodically and empathetically went through the process, step by step. I hated that day. I was terrified and angry, and I wanted to bolt. Then I remember the tears in my dad's eyes as he gave me that first injection of Copaxone. He was saying, "I'm so sorry we didn't find the cure fast enough." I remember welts on my legs and arms and bruises on my stomach from the injections. I remember intense nerve pain in my chest, arms, and legs. Nothing helps that pain at times. Then I remember meeting Damon, Alicia, Rachel, and Amber in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, kids my age living with MS. I remember making an awesome video with them about being a normal teen with an MS twist. I remember the MS Society asking me to be the Bike MS ambassador and to share my story on the news, with corporations, whoever would listen. I remember how empowered I felt to share my story. I wanted to tell the whole world so someone somewhere who might have the answers would hear that I am waiting for a cure. I remember my family hosting the Golden Gears Perks table on the MS 150, and people remembering me from year to year, seeking me out to check in with me and giving me a life-affirming hug. I remember missing school activities or friend gatherings because I was too tired to go. I remember a robot my sister gave me. She held the fundraiser behind my back and delivered it to me on Valentine's Day, 2013. This robot can sit in the classroom for me, and I can Skype with my teachers and classmates. I can drive the robot to the lunchroom and socialize from the comfort of my own bed at home. I remember the day I could stop giving myself daily injections and instead take a pill twice a day. Hallelujah. I remember attending prom and needing to leave early. The music was too exhausting, but my date was very understanding. I remember attending the MS Society Public Policy Conference in Washington, D.C. last March with my mom, Bill, Dan, Sarah, and Holly, and others from our chapter. We shared our stories with legislators, and I was hooked. Telling my story made a difference. I did it again with state officials in May. It was a lot of fun. I remember Representative Rod Hamilton speaking at a state capitol function, unrelated to MS, but telling us his MS story. When I shared that I too had MS, he was left speechless. We've since then become mutual admirers of each other, checking in with each other every once in a while. I remember attending Teen Adventure Camp in July 2014. I met 25 teens with MS. I remember we could talk for hours and never have to explain our disease to each other. We just knew. I remember my brothers and sisters from that camp, and I love each of them for their battle that they are fighting and the full lives they are living. I remember attending an American Sign Language immersion program in July 2014 to fulfill my high school language requirement and help me prepare to help others with a disability. I remember I will graduate from high school in less than a year. I missed all my classes in 8th grade, and most of them in 9th and 10th. I remember the independent studies, emails with my teachers, and occasional tutor at my home, endless hours of homework, all interrupted by naps. I remember I'll graduate with honors because I had a phenomenal support system of family, friends, teachers, doctors, therapists, and I remembered not to give up. I remember my story is not just my own. My dad showed me how to live with purpose and strength. My mom showed me how to live a life with joy and love. My sisters showed me how to live fully every day and do it with style. And my brother showed me how to live a life of service to others. MS cannot be forgotten. Please don't forget the 2.3 million people in the world who live their lives with MS today. Please don't forget the 10,000 under 18 in the US who battle this often invisible disease. My battlefield is quiet today, thank goodness. But many battlefields are messy with trouble. Please remember them. Thank you for listening to my story today, and thank you for everything you do to support families with MS. I'd like to hand the program back over to Kurt.